Slow internet sucks. And today we're going to talk about a few things that you might be doing wrong so that you can fix those and get the most out of your internet connection. Now, first of all, sometimes internet is just slow and there's not much you can do about that. I'm looking at you, satellite internet users, and I'm sorry about that. Or maybe you're on a cable connection and it's peak hours, which slows down everyone's connection. But sometimes those slow speeds, maybe it's our own dang fault. So I'm gonna help you kind of get out of your own way and get what you can out of your internet connection. Now, I've got 3 categories that we're gonna talk about: your hardware, your software, and your internet service provider. So let's dive in. All right, thanks everybody for joining us. If this video is helpful, go ahead and give it a like. I would much appreciate that. And if you enjoy what we do here, consider subscribing to reviews.org so you don't miss any other videos that we do, much like this one. Okay, now, first things first, if you're gonna test your internet and try to improve it, you're gonna need a reliable speed test. There are a lot of them out there, some are better than others, but I will link to one of my favorites in the description below. So use that speed test before and after you implement some of these tips so you can see what kind of difference you're making. Okay, now on to the things that we're all doing wrong. Actually, a bonus before we get to all that, it's about your router. Upgrade your router. Have you had the same router since 2004 or maybe since 2017? Well, yeah, it's 2020 now and it already sucks. So sorry about that. Just go to your router, check the specs on it, and find out what its capacity is, because not every router is capable of carrying the megabit per second load that your ISP is ready to send your way. This is why I had to upgrade from my Google Wi-Fi, which I liked just fine, because when I got fiber internet and it was capable of gig speeds, that Google Wi-Fi system wasn't able to handle it, and it wasn't very old. So I had to upgrade to something else that was capable of handling those higher speeds. All right, the first thing you might be doing wrong is putting your router in the wrong spot. Here's the thing: if you've got a house that's long, you don't put your router in the corner, you put it in the middle. Make sure that it is close to the action. If it's out in some corner of the house, it's not going to be able to reach the other side of the house. Or if it's in the middle of a bunch of other electronic equipment, maybe there's interference going on and it's not able to get out a clear signal. So make sure that your router is in a good spot. Second of all, reset your router. Have you ever had that thing where your computer's kind of acting up, applications aren't working quite right, and all you had to do was reset it? Well, that's kind of the same thing with your router. The software inside, it needs a reset every now and then to make sure that it's working correctly. So with a lot of routers, all you do is unplug it, plug it back in. You can make the IT crowd proud with that one. Or if you have a newer system, like the one I upgraded to, the Eero system, or if you've got Nest Wi-Fi or Google Wi-Fi, a lot of these newer systems have apps that go with them, and you can go in and reset specific routers from your app. Make sure you do that every so often. Another bonus tip, by the way, speaking of that app, if you go in there and prioritize your devices, that could help quite a bit. Your smart home devices, maybe you have a few, maybe you have a bunch of them, those connected devices could be slowing down your primary devices. So check your app and prioritize your most important devices to make sure they get the bandwidth they need. Don't let your child's Netflix stream cut out your important video conference or something like that. All right, tip number 3, you might be depending too much on Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi is great, Wi-Fi is good, and it helps you connect all these devices around your house really conveniently. But if you can, use Ethernet on your most used devices. Your laptop, your smart TV, that gaming console, not your phone because you can't do that. But your Ethernet connection will help speed up those devices considerably. Wi-Fi is getting a lot better at speeding up compared to Ethernet, but it still can't quite compare. So if you can plug it in, do it. Mesh Wi-Fi, by the way, can help a lot with this. You can hardwire with some systems, which I found out recently, only with some systems, you can hardwire one mesh point to another. And so you can get that second mesh point close by that vital device if it's not already close to your primary router. And that way you can use Ethernet in those important devices to make sure that they're as quick as possible. All right, let's move on from hardware and talk about software a little bit. Our 4th tip has to do with your browser. You have too many tabs open. I'm looking at all of us, honestly. You don't need to have 2,000 tabs open. They don't all deserve your attention. I know, it's tough. You think you might come back to it later, but sometimes you just gotta declare tab bankruptcy and get rid of them all. Now, Chrome and some other browsers are getting smarter, and they can temporarily muzzle a tab that you haven't opened in a while, and then it kind of reloads when you reopen the tab. But don't depend on that, right? Especially if you're working hard and you keep opening more and more and more tabs in quick succession, that is going to slow down your internet quite a bit. So just declare tab bankruptcy, like I said, and start over. I promise you'll be just fine. All right, number 5, you're seeing every ad in the world, and that is slowing down your internet. Now, this is not your provider's fault. This is something that we can all do for ourselves. So use an ad blocker. Those ads that you see every time you open up a web page, those ads take up a lot of data, and it slows down your browsing experience quite a bit. So use an ad blocker like AdLock, AdBlock, CyberShark. There's a million of them out there. The list goes on and on. Just be careful with these. If you're looking at a free version of something, sometimes that ad blocker could be malware in disguise. Speaking of which, tip number 6, if you are inviting the criminal element onto your network, that could be causing you problems, many problems, but one of them would be slowing down your connection. Malware and viruses, they tend to do that sort of thing. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. Get rid of it. Get a virus and malware scanner, and that'll help you get rid of that stuff. So it's slowing you down, get rid of it, you'll speed right up. I should mention though, just like with the last tip, watch out for free services because sometimes those are actually malware in disguise. All right, tip number 7 is your cached data. Cached data is the data you pick up every time you visit a site. Every site that you visit stores some data about that site on your computer so that their pages will load faster in the future. Now that sounds like a good thing, and it kind of is. Yeah, it does make things convenient and pretty quick up to a point. It can get out of hand. Pretty soon your computer and your browser are holding so much data, so much info, it's weighing the whole poor system down. So you can go in and clear it manually in your browser settings, or you can actually download a Clear Cache plugin to do that all in one click. All right, lastly, let's talk about your internet service provider. Luckily, this is our specialty here at reviews.org. We know everything there is to know about internet service providers. So a few tips on this one. Now, tip number 8, you might be hitting your data cap. Now, most plans, many plans at least, come with no data cap these days, but not all of them. Again, sorry, satellite internet people, your data caps kind of suck. Anyway, but check to see if you do have one. I did on my Xfinity plan that I had for a long time ago. They gave me 1 terabyte of data per month. I rarely hit that cap, but when I did, my speeds slowed way down. So if you have a data cap, think about a different plan if you can. Which brings us to number 9, switching plans. It's possible that your plan just sucks and that you can get a better one. Plans are actually a little bit like routers. Providers are constantly tweaking their offerings and trying to give you better stuff, but if you never make a peep, if you never go and look, there's a good chance that your crappy old plan will just get grandfathered through all the changes and updates. So if you've been on a 25 megabit per second plan with your DSL provider, just call, see if they have any deals for you to upgrade to, or maybe they have a different type of connection. Some DSL providers are now getting into fiber. So if you switch plans, sometimes those plans will be faster and cheaper, especially if you can convince them to get you in on some introductory offer that they normally just give to new customers. And finally, tip number 10 is switch providers. Now, ultimately, you might just have a bad provider, at least for your area. In some areas, you can only get 1 or 2, and that's too bad. There's not much I can do about that here. But most places will have a bit of competition going on, so take advantage of that. In fact, go to the zip code checker tool at reviews.org. I will link to that in the description below. You can put in your zip code and we will tell you exactly which providers and which plans are available in your area so you can make sure that you are getting the best deal. Now, I'm sure there's more stuff that we're all screwing up when it comes to keeping our internet going quickly, so hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you have any speed up my internet hacks to share with the rest of us. Put them in those comments. On your way down, give me a like on this video if it was helpful to you, and subscribe for more stuff here at reviews.org.